All right, recording's going again. We're on to the show and tell portion of the January 2021 meeting of the Hampton Ship Model Society. Again, as usual, I'll go from top left to bottom right, and Ryland is at the top left right now. Ryland, do you have anything to show this month? You're muted. Got it.
Yeah, I'm muted. Seem to be having low bandwidth problems too. The only thing that really haven't done much on my longboat.
Oh, you went back to muted again.
There you go.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. Just done a little rigging. Got the the backstays done, and I don't know how this is coming across to y'all because I see a lot of latency. Looks like I'm about 2 seconds ahead of what I'm seeing on the picture right here.
Well, I can see the latency in the audio and video, but at least for the video looks really good.
Okay.
Which is unusual when people are doing it live. There's usually a lot of focus and blurring issues, but it looks good. It's exceptionally clean work. I really like it.
Just this is something I should have finished by the end of the year, but I wound up getting sick, and I haven't touched it in 2 weeks. So I really need to get back onto it. All I got to do is, just tie these off, put the bowsprit on, and it's finished.
Awesome.
Looks good.
All right. I'm sad to report how sad of a modeler I am. I had a 2-week vacation and didn't even hardly looked at my model. So skipping on to Tim.
No, I don't have anything.
Now, Mr. Fox.
Yeah, I don't have any show, but I've got a little tell. You may remember a few weeks ago, someone offered a 55-inch model of the USS Missouri. Well, I foolishly accepted it. He brought it to me, and what it turned out to be is was a balsa wood kit that was manufactured by the Sterling Model Company, which mostly made airplanes, but I think it's from the 50s. And it had a lot of dust on it, but it's in pretty good shape, actually. It's not a fine scale model, but I've got this museum over in Surrey County for the first Jamestown, Scotland ferry. And I thought this model with a little model of the ferry would look pretty cool and maybe attract some attention, because the battleship is 55 inches long and the ferry is going to be about 3 inches long. So it's going to be quite a contrast. And I would like to start developing plans and build a model of the ferry, the Captain John Smith of 1925.
All right, we know Gene has something to show us.
You know?
Of course you do, yeah.
All righty.
When haven't you?
Yes, I do. Hang on. Let me move on to where we go here. All righty. Well, when last we spoke, I was finishing up the 26-foot whaleboat, which here is in prime. And of course, this was it, fleshed out with all the little toys in it. I completely scratch built the interior from the shell, which I had gutted from a printed version of it. So that's all that I had saved from the original. It is pretty much what it is. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to them, but just myriad little things. I'm going to leave it uncovered. They had either a canvas or a hard shell cover over the front, but I want to leave that off so that you'll be able to see more. There's a little close-up of the instrument panel, which I scanned from images of the Slater's engine. So there you go. Moving on, I then continued work on the 5-inch 38s, which I then completed. Again, it started life as some components of 3D printed, which I completely disassembled and reassembled and scratch built an interior to one of the gun mounts. Because of the door, I wanted the doors open so you would be able to see, and then the aft one would be closed up. Here is some of the components in various stages of disassembly and reassembly. Just moving quite along, the two pieces have to be married so that they will fit. And it took a bit of, jostling around to get everything to fit properly, since they were not designed to be put together. Here, major components in prime, and then you can see the difference between the two. The top one here is closed. The bottom one will be open. One will be without the bloomer around the barrel, and the forward gun will have the bloomer. And you'll see the differences here shortly. The gun here, finishing up painting, getting it ready to insert into the shell. Then I moved on to the interior of the mount itself, with the myriad instruments, components, wiring, structural elements, and so forth, so that you'll be able to see some of it through the interior of the door. Most of this you'll not be able to see, but whatever you can view through the open door will give you the impression that there's a lot going on in there. And these were inspired from photographs of the kid and other mount on the internet that I found. There's some nice interior pictures showing major elements of the mount so that I could replicate that. And there's a kind of a finished view of what you might be able to see. And of course, your eyes will never be able to get close enough to be able to see most of it, but I know it's there, and what you don't see is for the imagination to take over. Here's the forward mount with the bloomer. I wanted to show one with, one without, so you could see the difference, what was inside, and that would be the aft mount, pretty much complete at this point. Okay, then moving on to the elevated gun platforms. These were all fabricated from brass, obviously, and test fitted and painted. And that's pretty much where I stand at this point. There are a lot of other little myriad bits and pieces which I had completed also, but they will be installed in time. So that's pretty much where I am at this point, showing some of the structural elements of the platforms. And that will bring me up to where the boat is today. That's it. A month's work down at the beach.
Awesome as always.
Alrighty. Moving right along, you can have the platform back.
It's beautiful, really is.
Yeah, I wanted to show something, a little more interest. I was going to have some of the superstructures, perhaps even the bridge open, but that was just going to be a bridge too far. I just didn't want to go down that rabbit hole, because once you start there, then what's the next one? Where's the next? And then it'll never end. And then I'll have to cover it up like the Olympia and move on to something else.
All right. Thanks, Gene. Tom or Bill, you guys have anything? Bill's got something in his hand.
So first of all, I wanted to personally thank Ron Lewis Ron, you had mentioned that at the last meeting that the Mariners Museum had purchased all the archives and IP from Chris Craft when it folded operations.
That's correct.
I reached out to the Mariners Museum. I talked to a woman by the name of Rachel. She was absolutely fantastic in supporting my needs. We identified what boat we were talking about, and she had the plans, which I ordered and received. And it's allowing me now to build the model. So I'm actually at Tom's workshop today. We've got 8 lifts at a 1/2 inch poplar that we're cutting out plans, and we'll hopefully, when I leave Tom's house today, I'll have a stacked hull. So I've been able to make a tremendous amount of progress since we last talked from just a photograph that a guy sent us. So I can't thank this club enough.
Good.
Glad you're having success.
Very welcome. Rachel is terrific, as are all the folks in the library. But good for you.
Yeah, and these are some of the lifts. We cut this one's in half because it's got a cockpit, so we're going to cut out the cockpit on the half lift. And then this is more of a floor lift that we just cut out. So this is a full beam lift. So
Cool.
I'm looking to.
Anything else from either of you?
I'm using Fusion 360 as my 3D CAD tool to make a lot of the fittings, and then I was one of the other club members has a 3D printer. He's going to try to print some stuff for me, and I might also use Shapeways, which is a lead I got from this club as well. So I thank you for that. That's it.
Cool.
Okay, and what I've got, and this is nothing compared to Ryland's, is I'm working on my Medway longboat. There are a few differences between mine and Ryland's. This one will not be masted and rigged, but all of the attachment points for the rigging will be on the boat. The paint scheme is different from Ryland's. Just for those who aren't familiar, there are 2 models of the Medway longboat in the National Maritime Museum in the UK. One of them rigged, another one, and the other one not rigged. The one that is rigged has the thwarts painted, and also the inside of the bulwarks down to the thwarts. So that's the scheme I'm using. If you could see here, let's see, hang on, I'm gonna try to get it there. If you could see, just peeking over the cap rail, that is the iron for the back of the bowsprit. And you'll note that it's split. And the reason why it's split is for several reasons. And if you look at the thwart, there's a step for the mast, and then there's a bracket to hold the mast up against the thwart. And one of the things, now Chuck's kits are great because Chuck's kits go by the motto that there's nothing in Chuck's kit that you throw away and replace. Okay. That said, I did make a few detail changes. For example, I put ring bolts on the stem, stern, and also in the bottom of the boat, because the Medway longboat, even though it's a large model, actually sits on another ship, and there's got to be a way to lift the boat on and off the ship. So that's what those ring bolts are for. On the stem and stern, that's for attachment of the anchor cable. The kit has a grapnel, which is the anchor that this boat would have used, but it doesn't attach anywhere. So obviously there would need to be ring bolts to attach the anchor. I faked, and Gene would hate me for this because this is half-inch scale, okay, and I shouldn't do it. But what I did is I faked hinges on that mast bracket, and the reason for that is this: if you look at the mast on Ryland's model, you'll note that it's roughly about 20 foot tall, 15 to 20 foot tall, if you do the density of wood calculation, you're looking at a spar that's about 180 pounds to 200 pounds. Now, this boat was rigged in the water. Okay, it wasn't lifted off the mothership and, fully rigged. It was rigged in the water. So the boat is bouncing around in whatever waves there are, whatever seaway there is, and then you're trying to step a mast. And if you made that bracket a single piece, okay, you would be having one or two crewmen lift this mast high enough that they could physically drop it through those two through the clamp and into the mast step. My theory here is that what they would probably do is they would probably pull it back, position it over the step, have one or two people pivot it on the thwart, drop it into the step, and then close the clamp on it. So that's the way I designed this. Similarly for the bowsprit, has a rebate on the aft of the bowsprit. And the way this thing shows in the model, even in the National Maritime Museum, is that it's similar to a boom iron, a Stunsel boom iron on a yard arm. Well, a Stunsel boom iron on a yard arm, they slide the boom out, okay, and they just anchor it, and that's it. It's there. But the force on that boom is fore and aft. Okay, it's almost normal to the clamp. In the case of the bowsprit, the force is going to be towards the back. So to account for that, the heel of the bowsprit is a slightly smaller diameter than the rest of the bowsprit, which to me says that the crew shoves the bowsprit out the iron that's on the bow, and then when they get the heel to this boom iron in the boat, they just close the clamp on it and clamp it down. So that's what I did with this. I faked a clamp on that too. For Ryland's model and in the instructions, since it's going to be completely rigged and the bowsprit's going to be there, you could fake the rings with tape. But because it's unrigged, and the ring is there, I soldered this together. And I used cold heat once again, which is resistant soldering. And the one thing that I could tell you about cold heat is it works, sort of, but it's 4 AA batteries. And after you do about a dozen joints, even though the light still comes on, you got to replace the batteries. It doesn't get hot enough. That's it.
All right. Thank you.
Looking good.
Very nice.
All right. John or Sean, you guys have anything today?
Mr. Sean has something.
All right, Sean.
Did you share it? Oh, did I share it? No. All right, I need to share this thing.
I have to wait for my projector boy to get things running.
Ah.
So bear with us.
What do I do?
You gotta go down to share screen.
Hit the green thing. And then pick that, yeah. And say that. Look at that.
Okay, so haven't done a lot as I was working on getting my office reorganized with the things that I got at the last meeting. So I didn't do a lot this month. I did start planning out how I wanted to do the tree nails for the areas of the hull of my siren that would be visible. So I started, I created just a little blank to see how things would go. And what I ended up using is bamboo toothpicks that I got like 3,000 for very little on Amazon, came in a couple days. I hooked up a piece of brass to my Unimat, drilled the hole that corresponded to the holes that I was drilling in the planks. And then I just fed toothpicks into that piece of brass into the hole and it reduced them down pretty good to be able to create a series of tree nails for the planking. I then dipped them in dark walnut very briefly, then wiped them down, let them dry, and then glued them into the planks. And this is, I think, the method that I'm going to go with for the hull. All right, this is just some continuing progress of my planking on the lower portion of the hull. I did the garboard and then two planks back from that. Did that both on the port side and the starboard side. This is a shot of my bow. I finished the whales. I was pretty happy on how that came out, and now I've started to begin planking the next plank down from the whales. And this is again all maple that I have milled down and used. So all of the framework and everything is maple. The bulkheads are the only thing that is from the kit. Everything else is mills that I've done. So this is the stern. The ship's in the upright position, and you can see where the garboard comes in along the keel, and then my next two planks up. Another shot of my stern. Again, you can see the lower planks coming into play, and then the whales that I finished up this month, along with the hook joints that I put in the middle whale. I think that's almost it. And this is a picture overall of the Siren where I'm currently at right now, as well as my new workbench. And that's all I have.
John, what is that material that you use as a filler between the bulkheads?
It's just balsa wood blocks. I think I picked those up at Hobby Lobby, if I'm not mistaken. Bought a couple packets of it, and just once I had the bulkheads glued in their square position, I just backfilled it with some blocks just to give it a little bit of rigidity while I was fairing the bulkheads in place.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Are you gonna copper at the bottom?
Yes, that's my intent, is to copper it. That's why the planks on the bottom don't have a lot of detail showing, because I didn't highlight the joints in between like I did the upper sections, because I am going to copper it. It'll be my first coppering job, so I'm a little nervous when I get to
Oh, it's fun. You'll enjoy it.
that. I've read a lot online on NRG, and I am very, very nervous. So I've seen a lot of really, really good jobs, and then, read all the difficulties that everybody else has had. So I'm going to be a little nervous on it.
My model of the Essex has 853 of those plates on it.
Wow.
Hey,
What was that?
John, I did a coppering job in using the tape that the stained glass folks use, and depends on the scale. And the model that I copied two model, one in 1/8 scale and one in 3/16. And the reason why I use the tape instead of plates is because it's awfully hard to get plates that are thin enough for that scale. The tape worked well for me, but if you could get the nail pattern and stuff correct, but I just simply use the pounce wheel on it, and I let it age so that it looks like a dirty penny now. As a matter of fact, if you want, I'll send you a few photographs of the wasp, or next meeting I'll take some photographs and I'll show you what the coppering will. If you need any help, just give a yell.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to try to see if I can't weather it a little bit to give it some green patina, so it does look, pretty weathered. I'm modeling it the ship is going to represent during the Barbary Wars. I'm not going to do the 1812 version. I have a painting, a contemporary painting that I have of her bombarding Tripoli during that war. And so I'm going to be deviating from the kit a little bit to represent what the images in that picture. The stern is going to be different. I'm not using the kit's ornamentation. But I saw on Energy, somebody used the tape, and I'm going to use that. And he used a salt treatment that gave it a nice patina that I'm going to try to replicate if I can. But I have a feeling that's probably going to take me all of this year to try to replicate the coppering of that hull, just simply because it's not something I've ever done before, and I'm a little nervous.
Sean, something to consider. You might want to take a look. The patina, if you're at a building site and the roof has copper on it, yeah, after a while, especially if it's near salt water, eventually it goes green. But you got to be careful when you're treating a hull, because if the ship's in service and it's moving, you don't get that green patina below the water level. Okay, so just you might want to do a little bit more research. Now, this is what I've been told. So you might want to do just a little bit more research on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to have the air interacting with the copper to turn it green.
Okay, I will make sure I do that before I go too far. Thank you.
I would like to add to this. I have used some material that I bought at Blue Jacket Ship Crafters to get a brown patina on the model of the Volante that has 1/8 scale copper plates, which are really nice. And I think this material is something similar to Blackenit, but it is made for copper. And I just brushed it on, and within minutes I had a really nice deep brown color on it.
Okay, I'll look them up too.
Sean,
I have done some other coppering on the Cutty Sark, which close to 4,000 plates. And those plates that came in the kit have a sealer on it, and that material will never, as far as I can tell, will never get a patina because of the sealer on it.
Yeah, so it'll look like a new penny forever.
Sean?
Ulrich,
Yeah.
I think what you're referring to is actually called Patina It. And I've got a bottle of it in front of me.
I think you're correct. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's it.
Weathering / antiquing solution for copper and brass. Comes in 4-ounce bottles from A West.
Well, I should add that after brushing the material on and leaving it on until I got the right color, I did have to clean it up very, very, very thorough, because if you leave it on, it's just going to eat through it.
Oh, yeah.
So I used some, I think it was acetone that I very lightly wiped it off with. I didn't want to interfere with the glue, because I used cyano glue for attaching them. And of course, that acetone will dissolve that.
Sean?
Yeah, Tom.
Many years ago, I got some adhesive backed copper tape for Joe McCleary. And he was so impressed with it that he went to the factory and bought the stuff to put on his models. And with the adhesive on the back of it, it's like you peel paper off the adhesive. He just cut it to plates and they would stick. And he really liked that material.
That's what I use. I found it to be very useful, very easy to use. And so far, it hasn't fallen off.
Thank you.
I've used the copper plates from Blue Jacket also. They're really outstanding. But then when I went to install them on the Constitution, I used this material called Weld Bond, and it's pretty good. Works very, very well. I picked it up, I think, at Lowe's, if I remember correctly. And also, those plates, those copper plates from Blue Jacket do not have a sealer.
Right.
Yeah, so they're very, you do have to be careful when you're working with it. You know, it's easy to get oxidation.
Any more on plating? All
I got a
right.
tech talk. That was pretty cool.
Worked out good.
Tom, you're not doing anything, are you? No. Ulrich?
Yeah, I have made little progress, but let me show you what I did. I had some breaks in my working time, so let me put this on. I have basically finished the beak head. Anybody can see that?
Yeah. If you hold it still for a second, it won't blur as much. There you go.
No, so this is probably the most difficult part that I've done so far because of these rails and whatever goes underneath and all that had to be symmetric, and that was the hardest part on it. So you see there's the cat hats on. Let's see if I can turn this out a little bit. It took me about 3 weeks just to do this whole thing.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then, thank you. And then there's a couple of these staghorns or kevels. And you see on the inside, I don't know. And I'm getting ready now to do a couple of sheaves on the side. And once that's done, I will be, let me turn this down a little bit. Here we go. My hand. Then I will start painting or staining the rails. Like you see, this one already has a stain on it compared to all the other rails. They're still raw in a Swiss pear. I have also, I want to come back to the issue of the belaying pins that we talked about it some time ago. Now, I have researched this forth and back and forth, and according to this book that I have here by A.J. Hoving, there's nice pictures in there. I don't know if they're actually paintings or if they're computer generated, but none of those models or ships in those paintings have any belaying pins showing. Okay, 1670, 1680, 1660 in that time frame. However, when I look at the plans that are included in this book, every single plan, every single ship that is on these plans shows dozens and dozens, not even, if not hundreds of belaying pins. Now that threw me through a loop because on one side, you've been told, we've been shown there are no belaying pins. On the other side, every plan shows that they have belaying pins. And I know these plans are not, there's only one or two that are created by Mr. Hoving that also show belaying pins on those plans. So I'm still up in the air and not knowing if I should prepare this whole thing for belaying pins or not. And then my friend Henry Shekulin contacted Mr. Hoving on the website, on the MSW website, and asked about this issue, and he never got an answer from him. So I'm still up in the air with this.
Are those drawings, are those belaying points or belaying pins on those drawings?
Belaying pins.
They are pins, okay.
Yeah, on the, yeah, actually you can see many different pin racks on the bulwarks and pin rails or whatever is used, banks on deck in front of the masts. Dozens and dozens and dozens of belaying pins.
You know, it might be a difference between UK versus Netherlands versus France. It could be, you know.
That is a good possibility that I've thought about. And I'm particularly looking at the Dutch built ships.
Yeah, I don't think innovations would take that long to spread. I really think that the time period that you're working in is way before anyone was using belaying pins.
Well, still the question is out. What am I going to do? I'm just going to start wrapping those ropes around the rails wherever I have spot. I have plenty of staghorns and cleats and all this stuff other than belaying pins to to use for belaying, but there's still never going to be enough if this model is going to get fully rigged. So, and that's the progress I have made so far. Hopefully within a couple of weeks, I'll be able to paint or stain the rails. And then I will do the job of oiling and painting the outside. If you can see this, I have, anybody? Nope, I'm gone. You see, there we go. I have changed the model in some ways that I'm using clinker planking on the hull, and the green areas you see there will be extended downwards to the first whale. Oh, I did all the steps inside out. The rear is not finished yet. One item I have to deal with is I bought all these fittings for this model from Cornwall Model Boats in England. And there's two lion figures that are sitting on top of the stern gallery, and they sell these lions as a pair. However, what I received from them were two lions only suited to be on the starboard side. So they're identical. They're not a pair like a pair of shoes or a pair of gloves. They're two right shoes and two right. So for the last
I've seen you dancing, I think.
Yeah, for the last 2 months, I've been trying to contact them, and I've never gotten an answer back. So maybe they're shut down or have limited access due to the COVID-19. So I'm giving it a little more time because it's not essential that I have that done now. I can wait a few more months before I have to tackle that area. Before I start the masts, I would like to have all this finished. Okay, another item I would like to address real short is the books that you guys talked about in the last meeting. Dudley Pope, I believe, was one of the writers. Am I correct with that?
Yep.
I have that series, these books 1 through 13. I've quit reading those because I found a different author, which his name is Dewey Lambton. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
But it's, again, the similar thing as it is in the Aubrey series. They're basically all the same. So
Hampton, Lampton.
Let me get one out and see. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Lambton. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Lowry series, right?
The what?
I think the main character's name is Lowry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just started reading that series actually. I have
I don't know, about 20 books or so of his, and I'm trying to keep up with his new books. But I have had the Foster series that I gave to some kids that their mother was reading those stories to them at bedtime. So they're gone. I donated the Aubrey series to the local library, and now I'm trying to clean out the Ramage, the Dudley Pope series. So I got 13 brand new books in paperback that anybody that likes those to have those, I'd be willing to part with them.
So I'm on the first book of that Lowry series. I wouldn't advise parents reading that to their children.
No, not those.
Yeah, they're a little bit more R-rated.
Yeah, exactly. Where I think Dudley Pope is even a little bit stronger than Dewey Lambton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't read his. I've read the Hornblower, the Aubrey series, the Captain Kidd series. I think there was another one that I read recently, but anyway.
Yeah, and I think the what do they call him? Ramcat in the Dudley Pope series. The captain, the major figure.
I didn't read that series, so I don't know.
Ramage.
Ramcat.
Yeah, and it's pretty it's close to X-rated even in some areas.
Yeah.
I have to get those.
In the Pope series? In the Pope series?
Yeah, Dudley Pope.
No.
I haven't run into anything X-rated
Lambden.
yet.
Lambden.
Lambden, okay.
Yeah, Pope is pretty low key compared to some of the other ones.
I can read you the first chapter, you'll all blush.
This is the Lambden one?
No, the
Yeah.
Dewey Lambden is a little bit explicit here and there, but it's by far not as explicit as the Dudley Pope series, the Ramage series.
Right.
No.
And I like the
No, I wouldn't agree with you.
I would not.
I don't know. I just got to a part where Laurie was at some party and he was hanging out with some married women, and it was pretty.
Yeah, but you should read the Pope series.
Okay.
It's like reading a porn book.
I'm halfway through the Pope series, and I'm not. It's not been anything worse than PG-17.
Yeah.
What was that one? I never know that one.
Maybe they got you specially edited ones, Greg.
You're talking about Dudley Pope, the Ramage series?
Is the cabin boy in it?
I read them like 5
John, you've read these. Are you?
times, and I don't
We're
remember them
on
being
completely different wavelengths.
I'm going through.
Ramage never cements the deal.
That's right.
I've gone through the Jack Aubrey series. Mr. O'Brien came to the museum and spoke, in fact, I think about a year or so before he passed on. But the Lambden Orc, I have 3 of the Lambden books, HMS Cockerel, and how many are there in that series?
I'm not sure. Let me just count it.
Like 20 some.
Really? My goodness, I'm way behind.
20. I have about 22 or 23 of these books, and I think there's a couple of new ones out. Yeah.
You know, I really enjoyed them on Audible. They have some good voice actors on those, and it's fun to hear the accents.
Which series is that, Josh?
Well, the Lambden series is on Audible, but the Captain Kidd series is actually really good, and the reader does lots of interesting English accents, including that where they finish the sentence with "what," like, oh, we gave them a good rogering, what? Which I don't understand that expression, but
I think it has to do with he wants a confirmation to what he just said.
Right.
Which is not normally how Americans speak.
I know that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the very current right. You know, everyone's ending their sentences with right now.
Yeah, right.
It's
Or,
the kind of,
or no, or yes. Yeah.
I think it's like that. What?
Yeah, we Germans
Okay.
do that all the time.
Well, I love the way that they always portray the admirals as these kind of gruff, curmudgeon-y characters, you know, like you just imagine them sitting there overweight in their uniforms, you know, kind of full of themselves. So anyway.
Stuart, you have anything?
Yeah, very shortly. I need to share my screen.
All right.
You got it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is just to bring you up very, very briefly, to bring you up to date on what I was doing on my little scratch built model. There's a lot more to it than I can go into right now. So I thought maybe I'd better wait until I get it finished. And we get back to the museum and have an in-person meeting. and I can explain exactly what it is that I built here. But if it looks rough, it's supposed to. I'm trying to build a model that looks weathered, well used and neglected, which is relatively easy for me since that's the way I do most everything. But that's the way it stands right now. You can see I've got the foremast on and some of the rigging, some of the rat lines. And I figure I'll have it finished maybe by summer, at which point I'll go into the background and the history and I'll name it.
Cool.
And unless you just want to see more pictures of it, that's it.
Well, it's up to you. You've
I
got
think
the
I'll
floor.
pass for now.
All right. Yeah, stop sharing then.
Good.
Stop sharing. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Mr. Proudly.
Yeah, I'm going to try share screen. I've been working on the Royal Caroline.
I used it one time. Goddamn face broke. Oh, no kidding. And that's what I built my own little piece at the bottom. Just put it on there. It's out in the garage.
Yeah, I created a temporary one.
And I tempered it. I mean,
Do you know how to share, John, or are you just working on opening up what you want to share?
Yeah, I'm just opening up what I want. Yeah. Give me just a second here, almost there. Okay. So this is the starboard side, fully rigged, but I have no intention of putting sails on it. You see it's still just in a working cradle. It has a very stingy keel on it, so it doesn't lend itself very well to pedestals. So I'm going to have to come up with some other sort of a mounting for it, mounting board. The forward section, starboard. A lot of brass on this thing. It is plank on frame, but it's surprisingly heavy with all this cast metal on it.
I'm sorry, is this the Royal Caroline?
Royal Caroline, that's right.
Oh,
18th
fantastic.
century English yacht.
That the Montour kit or the?
This is pen art.
Pen art, yeah.
Yes, it's a 1:47 scale.
Okay.
I'm doing Caroline rigging right now, so that's interesting.
Pretty good shot. One of the elaborate parts of the rigging is just the mounting of the boat on the deck. Is down through the midsection. Stern section from above. A little bit through the rigging. This is stem on. Very difficult to get these figureheads placed along that metal railing just right. The metal itself is very, very heavy gauge and pretty difficult to shape.
The bronze material, right?
It's a little bit closer. And a little bit of the close-in detail, starboard side of the stem. It's a starboard quarter. This is the stern section. Interestingly enough, you were talking about you needed a mirror image lion, and they sent you two for the starboard. Well, this kit was one that I purchased during one of our auctions,
Yeah.
and it has some age on it. So if you look over there on the starboard side, that's one of the original figureheads. And what they had done is they included 2 for the starboard side. So I had to write the company in Italy and get the left. Interestingly enough, the one that came in for the port side is actually cast brass. The one on the starboard side is actually pot metal that's been colored. So the older so-called brass on it is not true brass, but the new piece actually was. And that is it.
Nice.
Excellent photos, John. I'm point out to everyone else how he's got a nice neutral background. So that's great for when we get to posting
Believe
stuff
me,
on
I've
the
taken a
web.
lot of lessons from my daughter. She's the expert on it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful work too.
Thank you.
All right. Dennis, anything today?
Nothing. I
No.
don't have anything.
Dave?
All right, so hopefully you can see, I had some time off over Christmas, so I spent a lot of time breaking Swiss pear. This is, I think last time I showed the jigs that I was trying to use, and I took Tim's advice for cutting some holes in it. I didn't have a Forstner bit, and this actually worked better using the jigsaw to cut, so that I had some parallel surfaces to clamp to. I tried, most of the bends were just 2-dimensional, so some stuff like this worked, but it was a lot different than the hull planking I'd done, right? Because this is like 180 degrees over a short distance. I mostly heat bended these, which work great except for the tightest curves. And finally, the very last one, which was the tightest, I figured out if I soaked it first and then bent it, it worked really well. I also got to use
You say soaked and then bent it. You're still using
Yeah.
your heat gun after soaking it?
Yeah, that worked a lot better than heating the bending iron. I mean, than soaking in the bending iron. Much less marks on the wood, and plus it was all dry before I tried to put it in place. So the problem I had when I used to wet it and then use the bending iron is it was still a little wet, and then when it would shrink as it dried, it wouldn't fit as well. And this worked a lot better because it was dry when I was done bending. I got to use every single clamp I own getting this stuff in place. But you can see, especially with the 16th inch around the cockpit combing, that turned out to be pretty hard to bend. And the soaking was nice because not only did it bend a lot more easily, but it held its shape a lot better after it cooled off.
I have a question because I missed just what you said about the bending. You said another method other than using soaking and bending it with an iron.
Yeah, so I bought a Porter cable heat gun. So it's like a hair dryer on steroids. It gets much, much hotter. And that worked a lot better for bending than my bending iron did.
On dry wood?
Yeah, even on dry wood.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's the heat, not the moisture so much. The moisture kind of helps it from not breaking as you're trying to bend it, but it doesn't seem to be the part that really helps the bend and keeps the memory of the new shape.
Okay, that's something else I need to look into.
So anyways, I stained it, so the hull's pretty much done. And you can see, like, especially the stern was a little bit more difficult because it tilts. Oh, I thought I had. And so that one I had to actually spile. But I was kind of inspired by Gene, so I'm thinking maybe this ought to have a camouflage finish and a half dozen turrets or so. Maybe some coppering under the waterline. But it's ready for, I have to build a rudder, figure out how to put it on a stand, because this is another one where there's nothing you really can't see inside, so I couldn't really have exposed bolts and things. I have to figure out how to put it on a stand and how to keep it there. I've done the bowsprit. The masting and rigging's pretty simple, so hopefully I've only got a few more months of this.
I suspect water carries heat a lot better than air does. So I suspect you're soaking it and then putting the heat gun on it helps transfer that heat into the wood a lot better.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, because some of the stuff that I was bending was, 16th inch or thicker, which is a lot thicker than stuff that I've planked with. And getting the heat transference would make a big difference. Because I finally did it on the last piece, and it was just remarkable how you could just feel it bend easily, and how when you took your fingers away, it stayed in the same shape.
I think I'm gonna, if I don't have enough success just with steaming it, I'm gonna get a heat gun like you said, and soaking it, and then the heat gun will be even a step above soaking it and then the heat gun, because you already have more moisture in the wood.
Yeah, I've tried steaming before, and it's a much bigger production.
Oh yeah, I'm saying if the soaking isn't enough, then that's the next step or whatever. But cool. Yeah, it looks really nice.
Thanks.
That's something along those lines is on my to-do list as well. I have a Sharpie book to get from. All right, is that all?
That's it.
All right, cool.
Looks nice.
Sure does. All right, let's see. Oop, the order's changed. Let's see, who haven't we gotten to yet? Don, how about you? Mr. Good?
Yeah, I don't have anything to share due to the holidays and health issues, but I'm trying to make oyster tongs for the this oyster skiff I'm working on. I soldered up brass. I wasn't happy. I toyed with styrene. I definitely wasn't happy. So my next step is I believe I'm going to try my hand at photo etching. And I was wondering if anybody would have any pointers or any suggestions on, I know there's a couple kits out there on the market and things like that, as to which way to go with that, because I can probably make enough oyster tongs for the next 5 or 6 years off of one good sized sheet of material. We have several sets of oyster tongs here at the museum, and some of those are crude at best, and some of them are very fine work. So I was kind of going to design a couple different things or sets of tongs to use out of the photo etched brass. So if anybody has any suggestions they'd like to offer, I would dearly love to hear it.
Well, Don, I know a little bit about photo etching.
Just a little bit.
I'm all ears.
Well, I mean, is this something you want to do on your own and develop your own system, or do you just need help with particular items? Because I can suggest, I can give you a guidance on either or. If you're just looking for a couple of parts, I will be glad to work with you and get you what you need.
Well, at this point, I don't even know which way to go as far as that goes, because I was looking at what Micromark, they have a kit for like $120.
Yeah, that's
doing the artwork and sending it out, but I don't even know what that costs, or even if there's a firm that'll.
Yeah, I would. Okay, at this point, Micromark is having distribution problems with their sources, and the beginner's kit that they do offer is a good way to kind of cut your teeth. But there are, since I've been down that road, there are probably better and cheaper ways to go about it. And I can certainly discuss that with you and show you what you need if you want to set up your own shop. I have gotten away from Micromark only for a couple of the products that they market, only through or for convenience sakes. But commercially, there are a lot of products out there that I have migrated to that are better. If you want to set up your own shop, it's a little more involved, but it's not a deal breaker, and I can certainly advise you in that. It's fairly involved and more than we can really discuss right now. But I would be glad to talk with you separately on this. Give you I'll message you my contact, my number and stuff, but we can talk and commiserate on exactly what you want. And I'm not, I'm not against also just helping you get a couple of parts too. I have done that for some others, and it's just a simple matter of artwork. The artwork is the key. The rest of it is just simple chemistry. So.
All right. Well, that sounds good. I started out life as a draftsman, so I figured the artwork wouldn't be too bad, and I've shouldn't have too many issues with that. So yeah, if you could send me your contact information, and we can talk, and you can guide me as what I'll do, and I'll prepare some artwork and show it to you, and you can guide me from there if you would be so kind.
Oh no, absolutely. No, I kind of live for this stuff.
Hey, Gene, to make it a little bit more efficient, if it's possible, I would love to be a fly on the wall of that conversation, because I'm interested in the same topic.
Okay. Wait a minute. I just kind of distracted myself. I was in the middle of who. Okay. Let me get rid of that screen. Now, who was, I'm sorry, who was that?
That was Joshua.
Oh, Josh. Okay.
Yeah, we've talked before.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Let me,
I'm pretty much at the same point as the other gentleman, and I would love to hear the conversation if you don't mind.
Yeah. And I could, yeah, exactly. I have done a sort of a brief talk on etching in the past, and it's kind of a specialized interest. So I'll be happy to work with both of you guys in either way you want to go, whether you just need a couple of parts or if you want to set up your own shop. I can certainly advise you what I have done, what I've found out, and in my estimation, the best way to proceed, other than going through Micromark. They were a good source to start, but I've kind of matured beyond that point, if you will.
Awesome, thank you.
Y'all could actually do your own Zoom meeting if you want to, because we have a Zoom account.
Well,
I can set that up if you want to do it that way.
Well,
Record it if it happens.
No, I'm open to anything you guys want.
That's something we can talk about, is having, you guys in the past have had some separate shop things going on. I know there was something at Tim's house once. I know you've done something at your house before, Gene.
Yes, I
more
have.
of a pre-COVID group thing.
Yeah, Don and Josh, that would be kind of out of their area, to come and do that.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking we could set up in between now and when we can do group things like that again.
No, absolutely.
We could perhaps this topic or any other one, we could set up kind of
a tech
more
session.
more in-depth tech session than we want to have during our regular monthly meeting. Something we can think about.
Sure.
Isn't that something that has been done before, where people met at somebody's house and went through a certain project?
That's what I was just saying, but that was all live. Now I'm saying, well, maybe we can do online version of that.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think an online version of that would work very efficiently. It's just a matter of setting up the program.
And everyone else can think about other topics that they'd like to host or be a participant in. Something we can expand our program on.
Well, I know Tom has graciously offered to do a sail making session for us at the Philly Club. So, and everyone's always welcome to join the Philly meeting as well. I send that out to Greg, and Greg, please feel free to, remit that out.
Okay.
I'll have a sail making PowerPoint cobbled together in a few weeks.
So, so if Gene, if you want to kind of do it in the same forum, I mean, you know, I know I'm interested in that, or if you want to just keep it to just a couple of us, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Oh, no, not putting me on the spot at all. Like I said, I kind of know a little bit about this and would be very eager to share it. So Don and Josh, you got my information, right? Through the chat?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, please give me a holler, and if you guys want something more broadly broadcast, just let me know, and I'll set up a program.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's move on to Patrick then. You have anything today, Patrick?
No, I'm still working on the rattlesnake, and I have taken it apart 3 times now, and I'm not going to let it get to me, but it is rough. But I'm don't like to be set that I have to say I can't do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm starting to rig it now and trying to figure out all the stuff, the Italian part of it and all that stuff. I finally just took the sheets of paper and put them side by side, and I'm just doing what I think is right. But I will have that thing done sometime in the next 5 or 6 years, maybe. But anyway, I'm working on it.
All right.
The wood is patient. I've rigged the rattlesnake before. If pictures of my model or anything would help you, I'd be happy to send them to you.
Well, that's okay. I appreciate that, but it's just that my arthritis in my hands, my arms and stuff, and I'm really having a rough time with it right now. But I'm trying to read the things and follow everything. And the other models that I've done, I've only done 3 of them or 4, and this one is really a rough one. But I'm not going to let it get to me. I just keep on working a little bit at a time until I figure it out.
Yeah, how the lines part run, I figured out before. So if I can help you with any of that part.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right, cool. Well, good luck with that, Patrick. I'm sure you'll win in the end.
I don't know. I will.
All right, so John Cork doesn't have audio or video, but John, you're listening to us. If there's anything you want to share, go ahead and send a chat message. I'll look for that later. And right now we're moving on to Hank. Do you have anything this time, Hank?
Well, yes. So the restart didn't work, so I had to do a hard boot, and I've got a good connection now, except the speaker view isn't working. I'm stuck on one speaker and I won't move to somebody else to be able to show. So since last month, I figured out how to use the Microsoft Photo Viewer in Windows 10 and got some photos together to show and set up an album. And as I went to run it today, I keep getting this message from Microsoft's Quick Viewer, whatever thing, that it's crashed. And when I try to go to search to open it, it says search has crashed too. And so want me to upgrade and pay the money to release my computer, I guess. So I do have pictures to show, but I guess I'll have to try again for next month.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, Microsoft, yeah.
Joshua, do you prefer one or the other?
I'll always introduce myself as Joshua, but I'm fine either way.
Okay. I'm Joshua then from now on. Sorry.
Yeah, nothing really substantial. I've been working on the Black Pearl. Mostly I'm in the tedious part of stropping blocks and attaching them to the yards. I've got about 10 of them to do. So I can just show you real quick. This is the main yard for the course. So I'm just basically doing the tedious work of attaching and doing all the hardware on the yards. So I'm about halfway through on that. So a lot of serving of line and wrapping up blocks, basically what I've been working on.
Looks good. You say tedious, but that's where things are starting to come together. It's starting to look like something. I would think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm getting excited because a lot of the hardware is getting close to being done and attached, both to the masts, and I've pretty much got everything served. So I'm actually getting to a point where I can start actually assembling it. Although I'm sure the rat lines will slow me down.
Yeah, just a little, eh?
Yeah.
Ron, we got a video of you now. How about that?
Yeah, doggone it. I was just going to show you my Vasa at 1/48 scale and all the carvings and everything, but I put it away. So maybe next time.
Okay. Well, you're the last one on the list, unless I've missed somebody.
I have nothing.
Okay.
Has anyone heard from Heinz?
Yeah, he's fairly nice, fairly good shape. You got another new car.
Got rid of the Bentley pretty quick, didn't he?
Oh, that's a long time ago. In
Yeah,
the
I know.
meantime, he had a big Mercedes, and now he has another Mercedes, a convertible. And well, he came up here with Henry Schikuling a few months ago, and we went out to lunch. So yeah, he seems to be in good spirits. He moved, he moved to a what would I call that?
Community.
Yeah, to a enclosed community, which are very, very strict regarding the virus. So I don't think he's going to do much. He has no more workshop, so all his stuff is stashed away, and I don't know if he's happy about it. I don't think so. He would love to do some work, but the only place he can do something now is at Henry Schikulin's house, who has prepared an area for him and himself to work on. Henry has redone his whole workshop, so it's just fantastic now.
I forgot. I said I would share something for Dave Baker. I was just thinking maybe Dave could get Heinz into paper models. I said that saying that half seriously, half jokingly. And that reminded me that I promised to share something on Dave's behalf. He thought he was going to join today, but I guess that didn't happen.
Was he busy in the taco stand?
Yeah. Let's see. Didn't get this set up ahead of time, so sorry about that. He mentioned we had guy who's the half owner, I think, of Paper Model Kit in Poland, and he's like a Air Force attaché in DC, or was up until recently. He came and did a presentation at a meeting about a year ago, and this is their first. Most everything they do is paper, and this is actually laser cut wood. Dave wanted to share this with everyone. Shipyard is the name of the model company, and it's usually paper models. I guess it's Shipyard Wooden Models. So that is what Dave was going to share if he had been here today. All right. So I did what I promised.
Well, I've heard from Altus and Moritz, and they're both doing well. Bill is, believe it or not, still working on his tug. It's a lifetime career, and they're both doing well. Bill is so adverse to technology that you'll never see him on a Zoom meeting for some reason. I mean, he even boasted to recently getting a cell phone. Well, it's a flip phone, so he's slowly dragging himself into the 19th century. But they're
right. Did I miss anybody for show and tell? I think I got everyone.
It still works, doesn't it, Tom? It still works, doesn't it?
I tried to send him pictures of how I found out, and it's just not going to happen.
He's still using 2 cans and a string.
Pretty much.
All right, if we're done with show and tell, I'm gonna stop the recording, and just like we did when we had live meetings, we'll take a 5-minute break. Everyone, maybe everyone else has been leaving and coming back if they need a break for the head, but I haven't. So I'm gonna take one.
Is there a presentation today?
There is. Bill Fox is going to do a presentation on his 2 years working with the Iranian Navy.
Oh, that's dangerous.